in today's video, we're reading at least one Christmas romance. I don't know if we're gonna get to more than one because I don't know where this video needs to get put up in like my schedule. Hopefully we'll get through more than one. We might not, I'm not quite sure. But the first book that we're going to be reading is Love, Holly by Emily Stone. Now, we had this book a year ago around this time when we originally got it, and we were supposed to do it for last year's Bookmas, and then the timing didn't work out and we ended up doing a different reading vlog instead. We're gonna be reading this, one, to get it off our shelves, and two, because it deserves a read because we own it and it's been sitting here and we just need to read it. So basically, from what I'm gathering, this girl, her name is Holly, car accident completely tears her family apart, so she's been alone for holidays, and each December she writes to a stranger who is also spending Christmas alone and receives a letter from another lonely person in return. Usually the letters go unanswered. That's the point. The letters are anonymous. Oh, my battery's flashing. That's the point. The letters are anonymous and the senders write whatever is in their heart. But this year, the letter Holly receives is different. Not only is the letter full of grief she knows all too well, but its writer, Emma, mentions a place that Holly has visited. When she realizes that she might actually be able to find the letter's author, Holly becomes determined to reunite Emma with the estranged grandson, Jack. When Holly finally tracks him down, she remembers that she's met Jack once before and the connection was electric. So it sounds like a miscommunication situation. Doesn't always bode well because I'm not the biggest fan, and Sam, my fiance if you don't know, hates the miscommunication trope more than anyone I've ever met. She's also gonna be reading this book and it's gonna be very funny when she realizes how much miscommunication is all over this book. I'm excited. I want to get through it. Welcome to the video. I'm excited to start reading and hopefully we get in the Christmas spirit because I really just want to, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm gotten into the winter spirit but not necessarily like holly jolly Christmas. So hopefully this does the trick. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not really in the mood. I'm only 8 pages in. I trust my gut more than I trust almost anyone. And so the second I start reading a book, if I don't have like that immediate gut feeling of like, oh, I'm gonna like this, it is so hard for me to push past it. Writing itself, like the structure of the sentences and the word choice isn't cringy, but what's happening is cringy. I don't know. I don't want to judge it right away. It's only 8 pages in. This might not be for me. This is so awkward. Oh, this is so awkward. Oh, it's so awkward! Ah! No! 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 Oh my gosh, I'm getting hives. No. Ah! I have no words. This is so cringy. My secondhand embarrassment is unreal. Rarely get embarrassed myself, but anything cringy happens in a movie, a show, a book, I feel like my throat is closing. Oh, I have chills. No! No, she's not yelling at him. She's yelling at him! She's yelling at him! And she's in the wrong! Oh, I have goosebumps. I am shivering to my core right now. Okay. It's taken a turn and it's making me laugh, which I wasn't expecting because it was kind of cringe. But I have such mixed feelings about it. I'm going through it relatively quickly because now I'm gonna be on page 89, 9 chapters in, and she's writing these letters to Emma, who is an older woman who is also alone on Christmas. Something happens and Holly decides that she's actually going to meet Emma. She drives to see her, shows up at her house. Emma has no idea that she's going to be there, opens the door, realizes who Holly is, that she's the person from the letter that's supposed to be anonymous, screams at Holly that she overstepped and to get away, and slams the door in her face. This book is not going the way I thought it was going to go in any capacity at all. So I'm very curious on where this is even going to go. I don't know, I have mixed feelings. I feel like it's definitely going to be different than anything I've ever read before, but I don't know if it's something that I necessarily recommend yet. This really is such an interesting read. finished the book. I gave it a 3.5 and it made me cry. This is not your typical seasonal romance. This is not your typical romance in general. This is sad. This is definitely something that I would look into the trigger warnings of because it goes a lot into grief in many ways. I don't want to give like the specifics because I feel like it is a spoiler, but grief in general in a lot of different categories. So I would look into that, the different types of grief that they're talking about, the different types of loss, because it definitely can be heavy to read and was definitely surprising. I wasn't expecting for it to be such a big component of this book. I mean, I went into it thinking that it could be sad because of already knowing that there was an accident on her end, but knowing trauma on his side of the family and why they don't talk anymore, it's definitely something that I wasn't prepared for, so it definitely caught me off guard. I genuinely do think that you should read this, especially during this time, if you're someone that not normal relationships with your family, or maybe even with you if you do. I just think it's a very interesting take on how lonely the holidays can be and how difficult the holidays can be for people, and how it's easy not to realize that not everyone's holidays are happy, and a lot of people struggle during this time of year. I gave it a 3.5 because the romance aspect of it was a little frustrating. The miscommunication and the constant almost together but not quite cycle was a little frustrating, and at the end it did get a little redundant to the point where when they did get together, I was kind of over it and I wasn't able to root for them as much anymore because I was just a little annoyed. I think I'm not going to go into something right away, but I am going to read another book in this video because this isn't exactly what I was expecting to pick up. So I do want to read like a happy, almost cheesy Christmas romance. I feel like I need that, especially after how surprisingly sad this was. Hopefully I can find a cutesy, silly, seasonal romance that doesn't make me cry and doesn't make me question mental health and the grief journey and all those heavy topics that I was not expecting literally at all with this book. So I think tomorrow, maybe while I'm at work or right before I go into work, I'll find a book on KU because there's a lot of seasonal stuff on KU, and I'll talk to you tomorrow when it's time for me to move on from this sadness. But I think I'm gonna wallow a little bit because it seems only fitting after reading this.
Holiday Mary would have to give up this year. Most likely it wouldn't be the only one. Noah hated to think of his town without Christmas, but uncanny resemblance to the lean, ruddy-cheeked Santa Claus that he did his best to maintain. He and his wife, Frida, clay sampler between them. Years ago to entertain her when she...
Hi guys, it is the next morning. I'm trying to quickly film this before I go into work. I started reading The Christmas Fix, no, I don't remember. The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. I've read a couple books by her before. The entire Knockabout series, I believe, is Lucy Score. Reading the book, it's going well. I started reading it this morning. I woke up at like 4 for some reason, which is really rude. But now I'm 18% through the book, so I guess that's nice. But 80% of the way through, I'm gonna listen to it all day, and hopefully by the time I get out of work and I'm on my way to go get Sam, I can finish it and then update you guys before I close out this video because I need to edit it today. FMC is a reality TV star, but she does specifically like fixer, upper, save these people who need their house redone type situations, something you'd probably be able to watch on like HGTV. She worked with these people, or like did a house for these people a couple years ago, and she made a good connection with them, whatever. But now, a couple years later, there's a hurricane that runs through the same town, and the same people are affected again, and is now going to go back to that town to help on like a larger scale. They're going to do a big special. They're going to make it all about saving the town, because this town specifically needs to have tourists coming in order to be like financially stable. They're definitely like a tourist oriented town, and so they specifically will focus on like their Christmas season and decorating for Christmas and having a Christmas festival. So that's kind of like their main focus and the way that that town gets money. But because of this huge hurricane, well, they're falling apart now, so they're not going to be able to do Christmas unless she comes in and saves Christmas. Now, the thing that makes it like, oh no, is the fact that the town manager, they don't call him a mayor, they call him the town manager, which I've never heard before. He is extra holier than thou energy and thinks that the town doesn't need her and he doesn't want her around, and he has a daughter that he's like obsessed with keeping away from these type of people. He's just judging her basically. And I know we're gonna have like a later on like, oh, I was wrong, you aren't a piece of crap, like that's where the story is going. So kind of predictable. It is supposed to get Christmassy, it's just we're a couple months out from Christmas where this first starts, obviously to make time for them to be able to do the whole renovation of an entire town, but it's just starting off before Halloween. And so I started reading and I was like, hurricane season, Connecticut. So I was just so confused, but it is Christmassy. we're getting through it. Hopefully it ends up going well. We'll see. It is officially time to end out this vlog, and honestly my thoughts are kind of all over the place when it comes to the Christmas romance vibe. So as you saw in the first book, I read a book that absolutely devastated me. It was so bittersweet, so sad, but also so full circle, and reading a book like that is always kind of hard and heavy, especially when you're not expecting to read a book like that. And I know I didn't get to give a lot of updates or any updates at all really on the Christmas fix, but I finished it about like 30 minutes ago now, and I gave that book a 4. I really enjoyed it, and I wish that I could have shown a little bit more to you guys, because I feel like, again, I didn't really get to give updates and everything like that because of me listening to it at work, but it was exactly what I needed. And so my overall feelings towards the Christmas seasonal books are a little hot and cold, so to say, because I had such different experiences. But the Christmas fix, the way that it ended up turning out was so wholesome, and there's a lot of things that went into the story that I don't want to get too far into because I don't want to spoil the story. And I definitely think it's a book that I'd recommend to anyone who's looking for a Christmas story, and so I want you to kind of go into it a little bit blind. But all that I will say is it's a true grumpy sunshine, and not enemies to lovers, because I feel like enemies to lovers in contemporary romance setting is a little ridiculous, but rivals to lovers and not understanding somebody and judging somebody, and the way that someone's not just appearance but their reputation can absolutely convince someone that they know you, and they could be so wrong about you, and just seeing someone completely change their mind and open up and realize that they're wrong and admit that they're wrong and fall for somebody that they didn't think they'd ever want to be with and everything like that. And also seeing someone who is super grumpy. The MMC is very grumpy, very judgy, very rude, and almost to the point that I didn't like him very much in the beginning, and seeing his character completely change and see that he's sweet, kind, and deserving was really such a touching, wonderful story. I really recommend it. I honestly thought that it was done so well, and it's definitely my favorite Lucy Score book that I've read so far. Actually, just thinking about it, I think I will bump my score up to a 4.25, so I'm ending with a 4.25 for that book, and a 3.5 I think is what I said for Love Holly. So overall I would say that this was a good experience, and I definitely prefer Christmas seasonal books over fall seasonal books. So I wasn't expecting that because I prefer fall in terms of the actual season. All in all, I'm glad I read them. I feel like I'm definitely going to read more this season and more of the upcoming seasons, because it's really fun to read books in the season that they belong to, especially when they're fixed on like a holiday. So long story short, I'm glad I did this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Bye.